Hi, Sally.
Yay.
Hey. So I'm going to, this is just the introduction part, and I'm going to hit for just a second. This is being recorded, and we're going to put it on to our website. But it's just a conversation with you and me. Nobody else is in the chat room.
Got it.
Okay. So, hello.
Hello.
Hello. My name is Melissa Erickson. I'm the Executive Director of the Alliance from Public Schools, and I'm here today with Sally Harris, who is running countywide for District 7 for Hillsborough County School Board. Welcome, Ms. Harris.
Welcome. Thank you.
So we at the Alliance have decided to do this because with the unusual campaigning circumstances, we have heard that people have missed the opportunities to meet candidates one-on-one. In the kind of hobnobs and the before and after panel thing, to have those kind of conversations to get them to know them more. A lot of the panel questions seems to be the same. You're doing Zoom, but for a different group, and they're hearing the same answers over and over and over again.
You are so absolutely right.
Yeah. So I'm going to attempt to give you time today to really talk about yourself, your reasons for running, your views of the school district, just really kind of open-ended types of questions. I do have 7 questions, but you don't have to get through them all. There's no time limit on the answers of questions. The time limit for the conversation once I ask the first question is 20 minutes overall. So you can answer one question in 20 minutes, or you can answer all 7. It's really the information that you want to get out there that people would usually have the opportunity to discuss with you if they were seeing you one-on-one in the kind of situations that we can't do presently. So I am not going to post these to the website until all of them are done, not just your race, but all the races, so that no one can see the questions beforehand. There'll be the same questions in the same order to each candidate with the same rules. So do you have any questions on the format?
No.
Okay. And then the last thing that I want to do in favor of full transparency for the people who are watching is I've been doing education advocacy in Hillsborough County Public Schools for almost 15 years. And so during that time, I've met lots of people. And so I do know Ms. Harris, and I want people to know that. I know Ms. Harris dating back to when I was a local unit president at Fishhawk Creek Elementary, and she was the Areas and Regions Vice President on County Council. And then, of course, as an education advocate, when she served on the school board for a term, I also worked with her. So I am familiar with Ms. Harris, and we do know each other, and we have worked together. So that shouldn't influence today's conversation, but I just want to be very, very transparent with people, because this is really about you. This is really you answering the questions. You'll see the questions come up on the screen, and we will I'm doing that so that if people come in and don't want to watch the entire 20 minutes, they could go and just go to the question they were interested in and see it. So when we get started, you will see the questions come up on the screen. So again, this is Sally Harris. She is running for Hillsborough County School Board District 7, which is a countywide seat. So if you are in Hillsborough County, you have the opportunity to vote in the District 7 race. And so we will now go to our first question, which is, so the Alliance for Public Schools was started because as a 6th generation educator, I think public schools are a public good. So does my co-founder, Christine Bermucci. We love public schools. So we want to start out positive, and I would like you to tell me what you love about public schools.
Well, I love everything about public schools. Of course, I attended public schools, and my children attended public schools. But with public schools, you get a full picture of what it's going to look like in the workforce. You work with different generations, you work with different cultures, you work with different opinions. It gives you a very strong variety of being able to be in school with kids that have different belief systems than you. So that's exactly what the workforce looks like. So I think the public schools gives us that opportunity. The other thing is that if you have children with special needs or you have issues, the public school district has the resources to be able to help you with those children. They have the capability of getting you any services that you might need, to have any testing that you might need. So I just feel that public services can serve the community, and they do serve the community every day in an enriched way.
Okay. Is that anything you want to add, or that's your?
Nope, that's
question one. Fantastic. And so now we will go on to question two. And so, what are the attributes of an effective school board member? Which attributes are your strengths, and which do you struggle with?
Well, my attributes, what I see a school board member needs is that you have to be able to wear many different hats. You have to understand your role. You've got to stay in your lane, and it's very difficult sometimes to do that. But a school board member has specific responsibilities to the community, and those are to hire and fire the superintendent and to make sure that you are doing public policies and making sure that those policies are followed. But there's so many other avenues to it, in the fact that we have to make sure legislation understands budgeting. You have to make sure that the legislator knows what you're doing. You have to be able to be a marketing expert and let the community know what you're doing. You have schools that want you as a school board member to visit their schools to see the good things that they're doing. Then you have community organizations that would like the support of the school board, and they're constantly inviting you to do those things. So you have to be flexible. You have to be approachable. And that approachable is more than just approachable on the street. Approachable means that if a constituent gives you an email, you owe them, out of respect, to email them back. Answer the email. Answer your telephone. That is what the community is looking for. They're looking for board members that they can touch, talk to, and reach when there's situations. And that's, I think, a very strong asset that I bring to the table. The 4 years that I was on the board, I was extremely approachable. I was always there. I attended everything, and I listened to anybody that needed to have me listen. And I would always follow through. That was the one thing I do well. What I am weak at is being someone that's outspoken. I always let everybody else say their say first. And then when I finally have heard everybody's opinion, then I usually say something. But I'm not an outspoken person. I'm very cautious when I speak out about an issue.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll go to the next question. The next question is, what role, of course, for our organization and for me personally, this is a big question. What role does family and community engagement play in public schools?
Well, I think that family plays a huge part. I think the district struggles with some of the families being able to reach some of the families. We have areas of our migrant camps and areas in the county that sometimes are difficult for parents. We have some of the parents who don't have transportation, that those are issues. And I think that it becomes a community issue of trying to get the families into the schools and to be able to communicate within the schools with the parents. And I think our district has done a lot of good things to bring families together. I know that we've worked in taking issues like VPK out to our Wyomama area and to some of the community centers and some of the neighborhoods. And I think that has shown a huge impact on families starting to take a part in this. You see the families they're able to ask the questions, meet the staff. They get an opportunity to really connect with the schools and the leaders. A lot of the principals will go out in the community and take it. So I think that we have to work hard, especially during COVID times, that we really don't forget the families and make sure that we communicate. And when we went to the e-learning, I mean, if you paid attention to what was going on, our families rallied. I am just amazed at the families that rallied to help their children with e-learning. So I think that we're doing a good job, but there's always room for improvement.
Okay, thank you. Let's go back to the next question. There we go. If you're elected to serve this term on the school board, how do schools, the district, and the community look different in 4 years?
Well, that's probably one of my most strongest reasons for running again, is that I did have some unfinished business. And the unfinished business on where I can make a difference, I think, is pretty valuable. First of all, many years ago, the legislation got involved in vocational education, and they mandated that we take out the wheels in all of our middle schools. And I really feel that we have the statistics to back the fact that children don't all go to college. And we had somehow managed to take many vocational classes out of our high schools. There's no wheel introduction in middle schools going on right now. And yet now we have proof that we need to prepare our students for life. And that means we've got to bring some vocational ed back into the schools. We've got to introduce it in middle school so the children who don't have a vision of going to college, or who just really aren't ready to go to college, that we can help them decide about how to find a career so that when they do graduate, they can get a job. And that, to me, is the most valuable thing. Another issue that I was starting to work on was for our teachers. I happen to know a little bit of information, maybe a little bit too much information, about the fact that we need health benefits for our teachers that is affordable. And I know that we can self-insure in this district. We have the money, we have the stability, and we have the capabilities of making that happen. And it could knock off $1,000 a month per insured family with this district. And that would right there put money in teachers' pockets. So I'd like to get back into there and be able to move that forward drastically. And then I was moving and strongly an advocate of making sure we had no F schools and no D schools. And we were moving in that direction. And I really think I have the ability to help move that and try to get us to the point where we have no F schools.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question is, what kind of school board member were you? Which you covered a little bit, but and what kind of school board member will you be if elected again?
Well, the school board member that I want to be is I want to be approachable, and I want to be there for the constituents. I want people to know that I will listen to them, and yet I'm a doer. I get the job done. As owner of Circle C Ranch Academy, I've owned Circle C for almost 40 years, and that has not been an easy job, especially this summer with COVID, but I know what it's like to have to take care of a business and operate it from the beginning to the end, the creation. And with this district, you've got to be able to understand the business aspect, especially the financial aspect. And you've got to be able to read a ledger sheet. You've got to be able to recognize when there's a shortfall, and you've got to ask the right questions. And while my 4 years I was on there, I did that. Every time there was a question, I met with the people. I met with each department, the CFOs, the CEOs, and I made sure that I got my questions answered clearly before it ever went to a vote. And I attended everything I was invited to. I went to all 52 graduations, and I am there and committed to the job.
Fantastic. Next question. You're going fast, Ms. Harris. So there you go. I know you guys, the school board members, have been on this, or candidates have been on this corral for a while. We're just trying to hit on some different aspects. So what are the responsibilities of the school board and individual school board members related to public education advocacy?
Well, I think that our job is to make sure that the public knows what's going on. When we got the referendum money, I'm a little disappointed in the way that we're letting parents know. I had the opportunity to visit in Orlando before we got our referendum on there. And when you did anything in a school, it was plastered everywhere. You saw it. And we are doing that, but we're not doing it enough. And I think the community needs to know and hear the good things that the district are doing. I think that we need to toot our own horns, and we need to definitely get out the message of what their money is being spent for. We also need to make sure that we let the community know when there's a shortfall, so that if you are open communicating with the community, then there is no room for them thinking that we're not being transparent, or we're trying to hide something or whatever. But as a school board member, my job is not to micromanage the district. My job is to oversee the superintendent. I don't have a hidden agenda. I don't have a program that I want to get in and start. I just want to serve the community, and I want to serve and be able to help move this district. I am all about change. I love change. I've proven that. I like to see things moving in the right direction, and I like to see when we can succeed in anything, whether it be college bound, whether it be vocational, whether it be special education, whatever it is, we need to see more success.
Fantastic. Last question, which is, what does constituent outreach and constituent services look like under you as a school board member?
Well, that's a good question. First of all, what outlook it looks like is, I know that every time there were issues coming up and have been over COVID, I've been really watching, paying close attention to how the district has handled this. And there have been constituent groups put together. There's been opportunities for parents to do surveys. And I feel the district is starting to move in the right direction, and they're having people have a say. They're putting the questions out there, and they're asking the community to be a part of the decision making. And that's important. And then what it looks like for me, if I am the board member, I am absolutely going to be there. I love when we do meetings in the community, taking it out into the schools, giving parents, attending PTA meetings, attending community events where the community has and sees us out in the community. You have to see your board members. You can't just see them at the board meeting on Tuesday nights. You need to be able to see, touch, and talk to at any time there is an issue, especially teachers. Teachers like to be able to have access to their board members. And I've always been an open door policy with that.
Okay, well, you still have just over 5 minutes left. You were very concise in your answers. So since you do have a 20-minute time limit, but if there's something that you didn't say that you wanted to, something that you think is important for people to know about you, feel free to use your extra time right now to tell people about what that issue is.
Well, I would love an opportunity to say a few things. Some of the things that I did while I was on the board, I served as the liaison as a board member to the MacDill Air Force Base. And during that time, there were a lot of changes that were brought on because of the influence that I had with them. These take a 7-member board to make the decisions and to have things approved. But when you serve on these committees, you have the opportunity to have a voice, and sometimes even the superintendent can make those improvements. And one of them was that if you had an international student that was coming from overseas, if they were already in the IB program, Hillsborough County did not recognize that. And what they would do is make those children go into regular classes and then wait until they got into the United States and have them retake the test. And then if they passed it, would move them in. So what happened during my reign of the 4 years, we were able to get that lifted so that these students can come in and be placed into the classes that they had while they were overseas or at other bases. And that was one of them. The other thing is we couldn't allow our military to sign up for a school because they don't have an address. When they are given papers to come to Tampa, Florida, they don't have a mailing address. And so we were able to allow them to enroll in a school if they were thinking about a neighborhood or thinking to move in. And then if it needed to be changed after that, then they had a year to be able to move their child into the home or the school closest to their home that they bought and purchased. Those are some things that I did for the military. And then another thing that I did with foster care, I was a foster mom for over 30 foster children. And when these foster children come to me, they come with all kinds of issues. They come with 504 plans, and they come with needing help. And so what I was able to get the district to look at was, instead of having them, when they move from home to home to home out of foster care, you would lose time. They would lose their IEP plan. So I got the social workers to follow the children. We have 3,500 foster care children in our district just today. And so these social workers follow the kids to whatever school they go to, so they don't lose ground. They can get into school, get an IEP immediately in that new school that they're assigned to, and they don't lose any ground in getting into the school day. And it's a great opportunity. That was another thing that I was able to do. And then another thing I did real quick is that I asked the question, who turns the lights off in our school buildings at night? And that led to, after 4 years on the board, a check was given to Hillsborough County Schools as an energy savings of $1.2 million. And that literally happened because I asked a simple question my very first year.
Fantastic. You got about 1:30. Anything else?
Well, I know that I have a lot to get done. I really would like to have the opportunity to serve on the board again. And I have a lot to share and be able to do. And I just hope that they'll remember to vote for Sally Harris. And you can look me up on the internet and my website at votesallyharris.com. And my phone number is 813-817-8429. And I hope you'll give me that opportunity to serve you for 4 years.
Thank you so much, Ms. Harris. I really appreciate your time, and I'm hoping that, the people who have been peppering us with questions about wanting to know more about school board members, that giving people this 20 minutes is going to be a little bit better than the 2-minute sound bites everybody's been hearing over and over. So I appreciate your time very, very much, and I will be in touch as soon as they are up.